This podcast is part of Mishmash Media. Hey folks, Ivan here. Just letting you know that the following episode was recorded in the year 2020 for Patreon, and it was the first time we watched it, so some things we say may be a bit out of date. We hope you enjoy it anyhow.
Hello there.
Hello there.
And welcome to the latest episode of Curbcast. This is our episode-by-episode review of Curb Your Enthusiasm. We are your hosts of Bidwabask. I'm Stephen.
I'm Ivan.
And this week we are doing episode 7 of season 2. After a couple of weeks off, we're doing The Doll.
That's right. A fan favourite episode, I found out, Stephen. I googled it because I watched it and I'm like, I love this episode. It is so good from start to finish. It is probably one of the best Curb episodes. Definitely in my top 3 that we've watched so far, and went online. I googled The Doll, wanted to to get some notes for today, and apparently lots of fans rank it in their top 5.
Yeah, understandably.
Articles and it's up there.
Really good storyline, and then the final scene is just the cherry on top.
The one where you think that Larry will just get killed.
Yeah,
but he escapes.
Yeah, it takes the controversy of the show to a new level.
New
levels of risque.
Absolutely. Anyway, let's do a quick plot synopsis for The Doll. As part of a deal with ABC, Larry agrees to attend a screening of a new miniseries. At the after party, he finds that the bathroom door has no locks, so he goes to use the upstairs bathroom, and the network executive's daughter asks him to cut the hair off her doll's head. He does this, incurring the wrath of the executive's wife, a theatre goer, and Jeff's ex-wife, Susie. Some special guest actors in this episode are Rita Wilson, Tom Hanks' wife, plays Anne Michelson, so the executive's wife. I recognised her. I'm like, she looks really
she looked familiar.
Rita Wilson.
There you go.
There you go. Zach Grenier plays Lane Michelson, and we've seen him in many shows and stuff. He's got a very familiar face, character actor. Merrin Dungy plays Amy. She's the woman who tells Larry not to bring water into the theatre. You know how Larry thinks that she's like one of the attendants, but she's just one of the friends of Anne.
The water nerd.
The water nerd. JLD makes an appearance in the first scene as herself, and Bailey Thompson plays Anne and Lane's daughter, Tara, the one with the doll.
That's right.
Just one episode trivia that I have, Steve. This episode shares a title with another Larry David series, Seinfeld, la-di-da, The Doll.
Yeah, that's right. Where
from season 7.
Yeah, where Susan has a doll that looks
like Estelle.
Looks
George's
exactly like Estelle,
mother,
and it's tripping George out throughout the whole episode.
And then he hears it talking.
Yeah. George, don't eat with your mouth full.
We haven't done that yet for Bieber Blast.
No.
That'll be fun.
That is a good episode.
Indeed. Anyway, let's go through the scenes, shall we? So, in the first scene, Larry is with Jeff and Julia Louis pitching their Evelyn TV show idea to ABC. The executives like the concept and they're happy to go ahead with it. And this has been a running theme for season 2 because they tried doing it with Jason, but things fell through because of the meeting situation we've talked about. And with JLD, it kind of worked. Because in the previous episode, they tried going to HBO and it didn't work out, and they went to ABC.
Yeah, and like you said, ABC greenlighted it straight away. Lane is into it straight away. And I like how you kind of miss it unless you watch it carefully. Larry brings up, when he says that we're working with Jason as well on a different project. Larry's like, he asked him about the meeting situation because he wants to know what the meeting arrangement is between Jason and Lane and ABC. I thought that was a nice touch and a nice callback to that was the opening episode of the season.
That was
I think
first episode.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah,
the car salesman.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think it's been like a nice ongoing joke.
Yeah, it's been good.
This meeting thing keeps coming up.
It works out. Larry says Jeff asks Larry what the deal is with his water bottle, and Larry says he has to drink 8 of them a day under doctor's orders. He says that he has to go to the bathroom more regularly because of it, and Lane says that Jason Alexander will be working, as we mentioned before, working with them on the show. He invites them to a screening of part 1 of an ABC miniseries, and Julia Louis says she can't go as her son has pink eye, but I think she's trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
And Larry and Jeff agree to attend because JLD, she was pretty keen in previous episodes to go to HBO so she could say the swear words, but with ABC, she's probably a bit disappointed.
I think at this stage,
look, I got a role, but I'll be censored like I was with Seinfeld.
Yeah, I think she's happy to get a TV deal, but she's probably disappointed as well that it's going to be watered down to what she originally envisioned.
Yeah. So she's kind of probably as a thing to ABC is like a nephew, just kind of like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know of ABC as a network, but I don't know if they are more safe like NBC or if they're a bit more cutting edge like HBO or
They're
somewhere
a
in the middle.
commercial network. They're like
Right.
Channel 7, Channel 9, one of the major networks.
Right.
Yeah, so they're probably very censored too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and we do see obviously Larry drinking his water. That kind of sets off a chain of events that lead on to the very last scene. Cheryl, Larry, and Jeff are at the screening of the miniseries in the foyer. Elaine meets Cheryl for the first time, and he says that they're having a get-together at his house afterwards and that they should attend. Larry and Cheryl are about to enter the theatre when a lady says that Larry can't bring his water bottle inside. He says that he needs it for his condition, as mentioned before, and the lady asks him to finish the water outside. Cheryl heads into the theatre, and Larry is about to drink the entire bottle, and he thinks that, isn't that like a shitty thing to do? You don't just go up to someone and say, look, you can't bring that in, but you're not working there. I mean, obviously, if it's really blatant, I mean, it's just water, man.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Something's going to get wet and it's going to dry in like an hour.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? It's not going to stain anything.
It's such a weird rule to enforce, but I think she's the sort of person that just has to enforce every rule. She just needs to be in control of every situation. And I can understand why Larry is a bit pissed off, because the way she's standing and the fact that she's standing at the door, and it's not like she sees Larry and walks up to him. She's standing there already. So she's probably told other people off before Larry rolls up.
Probably, yeah.
She's probably like the self-appointed movie rule enforcer or something like that.
God.
Yeah, just really really annoying.
She must have been a real asshole usher in a previous role or job or something.
Maybe she's a disenfranchised usher. Like she wanted to be an usher and she couldn't make it for some reason.
I wanted to be a banker.
Yeah.
like in Newman and
Exactly.
Kramer. Yeah. Nice. In the theatre, they spot the lady sitting down ready to watch the show. So Larry's like, hang on, you're not one of the workers. And then Larry asks if she works here. She says no. And he asks her why she asked him not to bring water in. And even though she doesn't work there, and she says that those are the rules. She's a stickler for the rules, even for strangers. And they get into an argument before the screening begins. Jackass.
I like how Larry compares her to that. I guess it's like a movie stereotype of that nerd who reminds the teacher that they didn't get homework.
The
kids are looking at their watches going, oh, it's 1 minute to the end of the class and the teacher hasn't mentioned homework. We're out free. And then the nerd's like, excuse me, miss.
Yeah,
you haven't assigned us homework for the day. And everyone's like, oh.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
And it's on a Friday too.
Exactly,
How
yeah.
annoying.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. She was really annoying, man.
Yeah, it's just such a weird rule. Like, fair enough, some people are more compliant with the rules than others. Okay, that's just the variance of human beings. But to be such a stickler about water, it's not like he was drinking or like, I don't know. It's just, it's very, very narky.
And like I mentioned, what's the worst that'll happen? Something will get a bit wet.
Yeah.
And then it'll dry.
Yeah. And as well, like you said, it's on doctor's orders.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that I was surprised that Larry was so compliant with her. Like, he pushed back a tiny bit at the door, but not much. He sort of was like, but can't I bring it in? But he was quite compliant with her request at the start, which was surprising.
He probably didn't want to piss off ABC.
Yeah.
Because he already pissed off HBO.
That's true.
So he didn't want to do it again.
And
so
also Cheryl as well.
Yeah, he was already walking on thin ice.
That's true.
So he didn't want to fall into the water.
That's true.
After the screening back at Lane's house.
Nice.
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 I see what you did there.
I see what you did. Yeah,
I literally see what you did there.
That was unintentional.
Yeah. Over the last 9 weeks, if you made that joke and we were on Skype, it would have been like, I heard what you did there. Now it's like, I see what you did there.
I see. Yeah, because we're back in person now.
Indeed.
For the first time in many weeks. After the screening back at Lane's house for the after party, Larry tells Jeff about what happened before. The lady who's talking to another woman who Jeff reveals to be Lane's wife, Anne. Larry gets a chest freeze after sipping a frozen margarita. Anne walks up to them to introduce herself, and he tells Larry to put his tongue on the roof of his mouth as Lane comes over as well. Larry needs to go to the bathroom, and Lane directs him there. Larry walks into the guest bathroom, and there's no lock, which is really strange. I mean, why do you have all those people and there's no lock?
I don't know. Maybe it broke like that night or the day before.
How odd.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think it's been an ongoing problem. I would just assume that the lock broke recently.
And I thought it was an ongoing thing.
No.
He tries to pee while putting a foot against the door, but it's too far away. And I love that moment where he tries to contemplate peeing in the sink, because he's able to reach the sink with his bits, but he can also hold the door with his foot. I like that. He was just I love how he was just looking at it for like 5 seconds. He's like,
Yeah, he considers it. But then I think he realizes that the mechanics are too. And again, because he's on thin ice with everyone,
yes,
and he doesn't want to compromise the ABC deal, I think normally, like if he wasn't on such thin ice, he'd probably take a chance.
Yeah.
But I think, if someone walks in or if he gets caught like with pee on his pants. It's just, there's just too much at risk.
Too much at risk. Yeah, it would have been a good segue or a good way to go in the episode. But yeah, absolutely. It would have probably gone off a bit too early.
I think so.
He leaves the bathroom and walks up the stairs to find another one. As he goes up, he sees Lane's daughter, Tara, a young girl. She's playing with her doll in her bedroom, the Lucy doll. And he asks if he can use her bathroom. After he's done, Tara shows Larry her Lucy doll and asks for him to cut her hair with his Swiss Army knife. And he does so, and he comments on how much nicer, shorter hair looks on the doll.
Yeah, it's such a pleasant exchange. Like, it's very wholesome.
It's
like
very
Larry's
nice.
like Larry's really good with the kid.
Yeah,
I think this is one of the first time you see him actually like just comfortable and at ease with this kid, and the kid's like not responding to him awkwardly.
Yeah, it's just really sweet.
Yeah, it's just like this little bonding moment. Like, they give the doll a haircut. And,
I was really taken aback by it.
Yeah, and Larry shows a Swiss Army knife, and he makes a joke as well. I can't remember what he says, but yeah, it's just like such a sweet, wholesome, like almost like a father-daughter moment. And then the kid just flips.
Yeah, that's right. In the next scene, so Larry, he's walking down the stairs after that, and Cheryl asks him to guard the unlocked bathroom so she can go in. He hears Tara screaming for her bedroom. She runs downstairs saying that her doll's hair won't grow back. And she says to Anne that Larry cut the hair, and he says that Tara asked her to do it. Anne says that the doll is a collector's item, and Larry says that he'll find another one for them. Larry forgets about guarding the door for Cheryl, and Lane walks in on her, and she screams, and oh my God. A lot going on in this scene.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts.
And even Larry saying, Anne's saying that my daughter's really smart and intelligent, blah, blah, blah. And Larry's like, she's so smart. Why did you think doll's hair grew back?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he kind of hints that a bit later on.
And obviously he stands away from the guard from the door, and Lane, has to go to the toilet and walks in and sees Cheryl.
Yeah. And it goes
What did she see? Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, and then it moves to their house, which is a common setting where, like after an event has happened, it usually cuts to the bedroom, and Cheryl's giving grief to Larry, usually for good reason. And yeah, she's extremely embarrassed, and she actually says to Larry, you need to cancel the deal. Like, I'm so embarrassed, I can't see him again. I can't see Lane. He saw everything. You need to cancel the deal.
Yeah. And also before that scene, just one more bit, like we forgot to mention, Jeff grabs Larry and says that his daughter has a massive doll collection, and they may have the Lucy doll, so come over tomorrow and have a look. Anyway, that happens before, but yeah, that scene with Cheryl, she's really embarrassed. She even says, like, there might be tens of millions in the deal or whatever it is, and then Cheryl's like, I can't go to these parties, I can't see him ever again because he's seen everything. Yeah, it's all bum, everything.
I feel like that sort of incident, initially would be very embarrassing. After like 6 months or a year, if you would just laugh it off. You would just be like, oh.
It's like,
I don't know. You look back on it and laugh.
But obviously Lane was really horrified himself when he saw that.
I think so.
I think even he's kind of traumatized too. Yeah. Larry says that if he can't replace the doll, then the deal with ABC is over. So that's another situation that Larry's in this season. He's got to do something in order to keep what he wants. Jeff and Larry the next day are heading into the car to Jeff's old house to get the doll. They arrive to go into his daughter Sandy's room to look for it. Larry spots the doll on a high shelf and tries to grab it, and the shelf falls off the wall. Susie enters the house, of course, very conveniently, and Larry rips the head off the doll and stuffs it in his pants. She spots him in Sandy's room just as he finishes doing it, and Jeff pretends to be giving Larry advice on how to install a shelf.
I like how Larry's like, no, I know a lot about shelves. I put up all the shelves in my house, and Sandy's...
And Susie's like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. She's immediately onto him.
Yeah. She doesn't bite at all. No. They're back in the car to head to Lane's house to give them the head. Larry complains about his genitals being itchy from stuffing the doll down his pants. It must be the hair. The scene quickly cuts to Sandy yelling to Susie about her Lucy doll having no head. So Jeff says that, Sandy, the daughter, won't know anything, but she notices that the Lucy doll has no head.
Yeah. Given the way that she's arranged her dolls, obviously she puts a lot of care into it. So I can imagine her walking into her own room and surveying her doll collection and noticing something off straight away. It's a headless doll. Pretty noticeable.
Yeah, which is funny.
It's not exactly, they didn't exactly bury it. She kind of just put it on top of other dolls. Yeah. On, at eye level. If you put it back up on the shelf, he could have done a better job of hiding it, I think.
It goes to show that how much Jeff doesn't pay attention to his daughter.
Yeah.
It's just the disconnect and how busy he is with work and his extramarital affairs. He doesn't even notice what his daughter does.
Yeah, I think he thinks that because she's got so many dolls, she won't miss one. But it's the opposite, where she's got so many dolls and she's aware of every single one.
Mm-hmm. And they're her prized collection. But anyway, they go to Lane's house and knock on the door. Anne opens it, and Larry presents the head to her. He asks to use the bathroom as she goes to check that the head fits on Tara's doll, and he spots the locksmith installing a lock on the door. He asks Larry to guard the door as he goes. Oh no, Larry wants to go to the bathroom, and he asks the locksmith to guard the door. He leaves as Anne comes down to say that the head fits on the body, which is all good, and she says that Tara is a gifted child, and Larry says that's the case if she thinks the doll hair can grow back.
Yeah, he doesn't say it directly. It kind of subtly implies it. He's like, well, you know.
Yeah, he implied that in the previous scene too. And he leaves to go back with Jeff to his house. Jeff and Larry are going back to the house, and they're stopped by Susie, who asks them where Sandy's Lucy doll head went, and they claim they don't know where it is.
Yeah, she's waiting at the top of the driveway.
She is, and she says that she knows they did something and that she will find out.
You four-eyed fucking, you fat motherfucker.
You fat motherfucker.
She's vicious.
She is, yeah. They decide to go back to Lane's and ask for the short-haired doll head, because obviously Tara kept the short hair as well.
Yeah.
So they're hoping to switch the heads so Sandy won't notice. Larry knocks on the door again, and Anne greets him once again. He asks to use the bathroom again, obviously drinking all that water. As she goes to look for the short-haired doll head for him, he clicks the bathroom door lock because the lock's finally installed, so you think. And he checks his penis in the mirror for any rashes or anything from the doll hair. And of course, the lady from the theatre opens the door and sees him in the position. The locksmith confirms that he had to go to get some parts to fix it fully. And after he leaves the bathroom, Anne gives him the short-haired head of the doll. He thinks he's in the clear. He locks the door and he's like, yeah, I'm cool. And then the same woman with the water looks at his dick.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
That bathroom's cursed.
It is cursed. I knocked the whole thing down.
The whole house is cursed.
Make it a storage room. Yeah. Just burn the whole thing down.
I think so.
Jerry and
Ignite it with the doll head.
Yeah. Jeff and Larry give Susie the head to put back on Sandy's doll. She says that it looks different, but they claim that this was the actual head on Sandy's doll. She thinks that they're up to something, of course, as mentioned
she's
before.
not convinced that it's all above board.
That's right. The next night, before the Part 2 screening in the theatre foyer, because it is a 2-night series, Jeff asks if Larry's assistant is seeing anyone, which he doesn't reply to, as Susie is nearby at the bar. So Jeff is obviously pretty keen on playing the field, of course.
He's got a history of infidelity. So.
He does, yes, from season 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lane, Anne, and Tara walk in, and Tara has her Lucy doll with Sandy's long-haired head, and Susie realizes this, and through physical communication, and this is very well done, she tells Larry and Jeff that they're very sick people, but they are across the room from each other, but she uses all these signals to say, you fucking idiots.
She says, and I quote, the last words that come out of her mouth, it's hard to sort of read the first part, but she says words, she looks over, and then she says more words, and the last 3 words are, you fucking sick fucks.
You sick fucks, yeah. She calls
she's
them
like,
sick people,
you fucking sick.
Yeah. It's good. It's like she realizes what happened. She goes, you're sick. You're terrible people. Larry heads to the bathroom once again, and the theatre lady glares at him as he's about to enter the men's room. And in the very last scene, Larry enters the men's room, but he tells Cheryl that it's an old factory nightmare.
An old factory nightmare.
That's right. He asks Cheryl to check if the ladies' room is empty, which she confirms. He asks her to stand guard as he goes, and Cheryl, and we mentioned this in the last Curbcast episode, this is the point where Cheryl starts resenting Larry now, and she's kind of revels in his displeasure.
I think she's starting to find a bit of joy and a bit of satisfaction and payback.
That's right.
A bit of revenge.
And a bit of revenge. Cheryl decides to not guard and she walks off.
Yep.
Larry, and this is probably the most memorable scene in the episode, Larry washes his hands in the empty ladies' bathroom and stuffs his water bottle down his pants.
So he doesn't get told off again.
Exactly. He is about to leave and I love how it all just wraps up nicely.
Yeah.
He is about to leave when Tara walks in, the young girl. She thanks Larry for fixing her Lucy doll and she hugs him. And of course she is startled and screams, running out of the bathroom, and yells to her dad that she went to hug Larry and that he had something hard in his pants.
The look of Larry is priceless.
And the crowd can be heard to sound like they're in shock, and Larry is so scared to leave the room to face the crowd that he looks at the window out the back and he jumps out of it, or he starts to jump out as the credits roll and the music plays.
Yeah, and you can see that he wouldn't even fit through the window, but he's so desperate to get out of there, he's happy to have a go.
So what do you think happened? Because I don't remember what happens in the next episode, but I could imagine he tried going out, but
I imagine he got stuck or realized he couldn't go out and was just sort of a bit unsure of what to do, and then
it was a real fight or flight response, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he chose.
I'm sure Lane came in and said, "What are you doing?" And then Larry, in typical Larry form, tried to like bumble his way out of the by explaining his way out of the conversation, out of the situation through just bumbling, rambling words and trying to explain, like, but the water bottle, and she told me off at the movies, like just trying to give the whole context and no one cares. No one's listening.
Nah. When you say hard thing and girl, as a girl, then
that's a very hard situation to talk your way out of.
Literally.
Yes.
Indeed. Anyway, that is The Doll. One of my favorite Curb episodes, 4.5 out of 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am the same in terms of score. Great episode.
Lovely episode. Yeah, and obviously, as I mentioned, a fan favourite. So anyway, it's good. We had a couple of weeks off due to certain situations, which we mentioned in Bidwabask in the latest episode, The Stand-In. And so thanks. I know this is a Patreon-only exclusive podcast, but thank you very much for listening and for your patience. And a few of you Patreon subs have reached out to us, wishing us well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it is appreciated. I went through a pretty difficult time, and it's nice to know that people I will probably never meet in real life, strangers in the world, care enough about us to make sure we're okay.
Yeah.
So the fact that you left some nice words and encouraged us and were patient while we had to take a couple of weeks off means a lot. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks guys. Anyway, we'll be back next week for episode 8 of season 2. We're at the tail end of season 2 now of Curbcast, which is exciting, and we'll also be back next week for Bidwabask. So my name's Ivan.
And I'm Stephen.
And you take care of yourselves.
We'll find out next week if Larry David's a registered sex offender now.
And how many bruises on his face he has, how many times he's been punched by Lane.
The whole episode's set in the hospital.
Indeed. He's in a coma.
See you later.
See ya. Thanks for listening. This podcast is part of Mishmash Media, an independent podcast network. Follow us on social media at Mishmash Media AU or support us on Patreon. All those links are in the show notes.